Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. A very warm welcome to this Monday, 1st January 2024 morning Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam talk. Today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Text 37. Before we discuss on this verse, let's sing Jai Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe. Jai Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe. Jai Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Ram Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajakacarya Shodra Shatashi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai, Prem se Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Mathura Dham ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai, Ganga Mai ki Jai, Yamuna Mai ki Jai, Tulsi Devi ki Jai, Bhakti Devi ki Jai, Samved Bhaktavrinda ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Krishne Matirastu. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, entitled The Status Quo, Chapter 1, Text 37. Kim va kṛtāgheṣv agham atyamarṣī bhīmo hivad dīrghatamaṁ vyamuñcat yasyāṅghri-pātaṁ raṇa-bhūr sehe mārgaṁ gadāyāś carato vicitram. Kim va kṛtāgheṣv agham atyamarṣī bhīmo hivad dīrghatamaṁ vyamuñcat yasyāṅghri-pātaṁ raṇa-bhūr sehe mārgaṁ gadāyāś carato vicitram. Kim va kṛtāgheṣv agham atyamarṣī bhīmo hivad dīrghatamaṁ vyamuñcat yasyāṅghri-pātaṁ raṇa-bhūr sehe mārgaṁ gadāyāś carato vicitram. Word by word. Kim, whatever. Va, either. Krita, performed. Agheṣv, onto the sinners. Agham, anger. Atyamarṣī, unconquerable. Bhīma, Bhīma. A hivad, like a cobra. Dīrghatamaṁ, long-cherished. Vyamuñcat, has released. Yasya, whose. Agham-pātaṁ, putting on the steps. raṇa-bhūr, the field of battle. Na, could not. Sehe, tolerate. Mārgaṁ, the path. gadāyāś, by the clubs. carato, playing. vicitram, wonderful. Translation. Please tell me whether the unconquerable Bhīma, who is like a cobra, has released his long-cherished anger upon the sinners. The field of battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped up on the path. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Vidura knew the strength of Bhīma. Whenever Bhīma was on the battlefield, his steps on the path and the wonderful playing of his club were unbearable for the enemy. Powerful Bhīma did not take steps against the sons of Dhṛtarāṣṭra for a long time. Vidura's inquiry was whether he had yet released his anger, which was like that of a suffering cobra. When a cobra releases its venom after long-cherished anger, its victim cannot survive. Before we discuss on this verse, let us offer some prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Shreshtham Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Murupurim Maturim Goshthavati Radha Kundam Girivaram Maho Radhika Madhavasam Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Adadandastranam Dante Idam Yachah Punah Punah Shriman Rupa Padambhojam Dhulisyam Janma Janmani He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dīnabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 1, Text 37. Kim va krite kṛtāgheṣv agham atyamarṣī bhīmo hivad dīrghatamaṁ vyamuñcat yasyāṅghri-pātaṁ raṇa-bhūr sehe mārgaṁ gadāyāś carato vicitram. Translation: Please tell me whether the unconquerable Bhīma, who is like a cobra, has released his long-cherished anger upon the sinners. The field of battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped on the path. So we see here there is this discussion that is taking place where Mahatma Vidura has been inquiring about all the associates of Krishna. And this is the goal in human form of life. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Macchitta Madgat Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. This is the wonderful state of pure devotees of Krishna, that their minds are totally absorbed in Krishna. Macchitta, Madgat Prana, their whole life force is engaged in serving Krishna. Madgat Prana. And what are they doing? Bodhayanta Parasparam. Bodhayanta. That is an important word there. Bodhayanta means, Bodha means, if we just look at the word Bodha, it means that when one is having the consciousness, that is Bodha. So Bodhayanta. So when there is consciousness, then anything else can take place. And what should take place? Macchitta. Madgat Prana Bodhayanta Parasaram Kathayantascha Mam Nityam. So when there is consciousness, the most important preference and the most important activity that should take place is Kathayantascha Mam Nityam. So this is what Krishna is saying. Krishna says Katha. Katha is Krishna's activities, Krishna's talks, Krishna's and the devotees of Krishna, their activities and their talks. That is Kathayantascha Mam Nityam. Nityam. Nityam cha samachittatvam. Ishtam nishta papattishu. So this is, Nitya is constantly. That is a very important aspect of engaging in spiritual activities. The constantness of that activity. How much is that? As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, many shlokas he says, Ananyas chintayanto mam ye jana paryupasate. Ananya cheta satatam yu mam smarati nityasha. Ananya. So this is when there is continuous stream of thought relating to Krishna and his devotees. That is, and the continuity is what helps one to become deeply absorbed in the talks of the Lord. It is a continuity. And the continuity with 100% concentration. That is, how does one get into this state of concentration? So there is this in the Ashtanga Yoga of Patanjali, there is this yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. That is called Ashtanga Yoga, the 8 limbs of yoga. So there is dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. The last 3 states are called dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. So dharana Dharana is a state where one is trying to concentrate. Yadyad nischarati manaschanchalam astiram tatastadad nyamyetad atmanyeva vasham nayet. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that whenever the mind is going away from remembrance of the Lord, bring it back to the Lord. So that is the process of dharana. So dharana is constantly one is trying to bring back the mind to Krishna. And when the mind is placed at the lotus feet of the Lord, the mind is totally peaceful, totally satisfied. That is what is ramante yoginaha anante, satyanande chidatmani. So the real pleasure, satya ananda, the real pleasure is that which has no beginning and no end. That is ananta. Anta means that which has end. Ananta is that which has no end. So that is the real bliss, the real happiness, that which has no end. That unfortunately cannot be understood within the context of the body or the mind, because they both are material. And anything material has got a beginning and has got an end. Adyantavanta kaunteya. Yahi sansparshaja bhoga dukkha yonaya evate. Adyantavanta kaunteya na teshu ramate buddha. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that whatever happiness we are getting through our material mind and the material senses, first of all, it is, even though temporarily one might feel some kind of happiness, that temporary happiness is unfortunately causing misery. Why is it causing misery? Because it is not going to be experienced without an end. The fact that it started means that it has to end. So the real bliss and our real nature is anadi and ananta. It has no beginning and it has no end. Very difficult to fathom that in the current state of our existence, because in the current state, the only thing unfortunately we know is the body. We are in the material world. The thing that we see everywhere is matter. We don't see the spirit, unfortunately. Therefore, it is called, Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that so this divya chakshu, this one has to have this transcendental vision to see the source of everything. So matta parataram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, that he says that there is nothing superior to me, Krishna. Kinchidasti dhananjaya. And he is calling Arjuna as Dhananjaya. You are the conqueror of all the wealth that exists in the world. That is Arjuna, Dhananjaya. And he's saying that you are Dhananjaya. You are the conqueror of the whole wealth, Arjuna. But matta parataram nanyat. There's nothing superior to me. So mai sarvamidam protam sutre manigana iva. Like the pearls are strung in a thread, everything is strung through the agency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetu nanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. So as Krishna mentions, under his direction, the prakriti kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasha yah pashyati tathatmanam akartaram sa pashyati. So the prakriti, the material nature, is working under the direction of Krishna. Maya dakshena prakriti suyate. Suyate is the creation. The creation of the whole material universe is under the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. And who is doing it? The material nature, prakriti. Suyate sa chara acharam. So the material nature is creating the living entities which are movable and the living entities which are unmovable. And it is not only the living entities, it is the whole existence. It is there's a very beautiful way of understanding. So this Prakriti is Maya. Mama Maya Duratyaya. So Devi Hesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Mameva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, that this Gunamayi, this it is, and it is Devi Hesha. It is divine. This energy of the Lord is divine. And it has got this guna. Guna is the three modes of material nature: sattva guna, rajo guna, and tamo guna. The mode of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of ignorance. Mohitam nabhi janati mamebhya paramavayam tribhir gunamayer bhaver ebhi sarvamidam jagat. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, that because the whole universe, which is under the purview of the material energy of the Lord, then that is only applicable for the universe that is under the purview of the material energy. Where paras tasmatu bhavanyo vyakta vyaktat sanatana yasa sarveshu bhuteshu vinashatsu na vinashyati. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that he says that there is a superior place which is beyond the cycle of creation and destruction. Parat tasmatu bhavanyo vyakta vyaktat sanatana. So vyakta and avyakta. Vyakti avyaktamapannam manyante mama buddhaya. Avyaktam vyaktimapannam. So this vyakta and avyakta. Vyakta is when something is appearing. That is vyakta. And avyakta is when something disappears. So this is the body. The state of the body is that. The state of the body is, it is appearing at a certain point, and then once the time is up, it is disappearing. The body. So this is vyakta avyakta. So this is the situation in the material world. Vyakta avyakta, continuous state of vyakta and avyakta. Continuously, there is janma mrityu jara vyadhi. There is because there is birth, there is death, and between the birth and death there is jara and vyadhi. There is old age and disease. So this is the nature of therefore Krishna says that dukkhalayam ashashvatam mamupetya punarjanma dukkhalayam ashashvatam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. Mamupetya, when someone reaches Krishna, then one comes out of this cycle of dukkhalayam and ashashvatam, this cycle of continuous birth and death in an unfortunate abode of misery, which is temporary. It is temporary, and that is the wonderful nature of this material creation, that it is constantly created and constantly destroyed. Therefore, there is just like in a microcosm way, the living entities are constantly coming into existence and going out of existence. In a macrocosm way, the universe is also doing the same thing. The whole material universe is coming into existence, and then it is going out of existence. And then again it is coming into existence, again going out of existence. And this is going on eternally. This is the Kala Chakra, the continuous cycle of time. So we are kind of in terms of our conditional existence in this earthly planet for this ephemeral amount of time. It's like a bubble coming up. How long does a bubble stay when it is there in water? Just comes up and goes immediately. You don't even know when the bubble has come up and when it has gone. So it is like a simile, a metaphor given to our own existence. We feel that, say someone has lived for 100 years. Oh, 100 years someone has lived. Such a wonderful 100 years. Of course, it is great from the perspective of our conditioned existence. But from the perspective of eternity, it is nothing. Because eternity means it has no beginning and no end. So where is the comparison? There is no comparison at all. That is the reason of course, from our perspective where we are in a conditioned state of existence, it's wonderful to acknowledge that there is this 1st of January 2024, which is a new year. It is Ayur Harati Vaipumsam Udyan Astam Chayanasau Tasyarthe Kshanonita Uttama Shloka Vartaya. It is mentioned in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam that unless one is being engaged in hearing and chanting about Krishna and remembering Krishna, this continuous rising of the sun and setting of the sun is just another event, and this it's another day. In a sense, it is another day, but because the Gregory the 8th has considered January as the beginning of a new year, basing on the Greek god Janus. The Greek god Janus was looking forward and backward at the same time. So that's why Gregory the 8th decided that January should become the first month of the year. It looks like it was originally March, and it kind of matches very nicely, because September is 7, October is 8, November is 9, and December is 10. So when you start from March, actually September, October, November, December is 7, 8, 9, 10. So basically, this is something a person was decided that this is going to be the start of the new year, and everyone in the world have somehow or other followed suit to this, and then the whole world comes up to this particular 1st of January every year and celebrates that occasion, that this is a new year. But if we look at it from a macrocosm or a larger view perspective, it is another day. And if everyone can consider every day as the beginning of the new year, what a wonderful celebration it would be. What a wonderful attitude it would be, because everyone would have that motivation, that energy to achieve something, because that is what people look forward in the new year. They look forward to go ahead and have some goals and see how they fare in the next 365 or the 366 days. This year being a leap year, we got one more extra day. So this is when we are discussing here. So when we come back to this verse, and the first line of this verse is Kim va kṛtāgheṣv agham atyamarṣī. So here Vidur Maharaj, Mahatma Vidur, is talking about, he's asking, please tell me whether Kim, whether va, either, kṛtāgheṣv agham atyamarṣī. So that is the first line. Whether either performed onto the sinner's anger unconquerable. So if we take it word by word, that is what it is. That is what is given here. But if we take it in terms of understanding that particular line, so here Vidur Maharaj is asking, or Mahatma Vidur is asking, he's talking about Bhīma as someone who is in a way unconquerable. Atyamarṣī. Atyamarṣī is unconquerable. Krita, what did he perform? The unconquerable Bhīma. Did he vent his anger onto the agheshu, the sinners? This particular verse is focusing on the nature of Bhīma. Bhīma is, we know Bhīma is the son of Vayudeva, the wind god. As Kunti Devi had got the boon from Durvasa Muni that she could ask for any demigod to come and give her an offspring. And we know that before she got married to Pandu, when she got this boon, because this boon was something unbelievable for her, she wanted to give it a try. And she tried to call sun god. Then sun god appeared, and then sun god said that this is the boon that, and I have to go according to the terms and conditions of this boon. And the terms and condition was that he has to provide Kunti with a son, and that's what happened. So then we know that Karna was born. Similarly, we have Yudhishthira, who was born from Yamaraj. Then Arjuna was born from Indra. Then Bhīma, born from the wind god. And then Nakula and Sahadeva are born from the Ashwini Kumars. So they are the demigods responsible for the health, along with Dhanvantari, of course. Dhanvantari is Krishna's incarnation, who is responsible for, again, the health. So here we see again Bhima's nature of being so strong and so straightforward in terms of his behavior. He's not like a well-versed diplomat who would be able to show a lot of diplomatic skills. He's more on the side of being straightforward and directly tackling whatever needs to be tackled. So that was Bhima's nature. And it's quite nice to, again, coming from the perspective of this conditioned existence in this particular body, where we are in this world where 1st of January is considered an important landmark in terms of the continuation of a year, the finishing of a previous year and the beginning of a new year. It's quite an interesting coincidence that here Vidura is inquiring about Bhīma, and we know that Bhīma is the son of wind god Vayudeva, and we know another son of Vayudeva, who is Sri Hanuman. So it is quite interesting that coincidentally this particular verse has come in on 1st of January, and we're talking about the brother of Hanumanji, Bhīma. And Hanuman is called Sankat Mochan. So he removes all the conditioned state of existence. So Hanumanji is the epitome of seva bhava, the service attitude. There is no one greater than Hanumanji in terms of showing how to serve the Lord. In terms of his participation in Sri Ram's Leela, Sri Ram's pastimes, it is a wonderful history in terms of how Hanumanji was totally focusing on Sri Ram's names, and he was totally serving Sri Ram. So this Machitta Madgat Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayanta Shamam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha is very wonderfully applicable to Hanumanji. Because it is applicable to Hanumanji, it is also applicable to Bhīma. So is in a way his brother. Of course, the age were different. Like Hanumanji was in the Treta Yuga and Bhīma is in the Dwapara Yuga. But the common link there is Vayudev, the wind god. We see the power of wind god even in the current Kali Yuga context. When there is some huge storm or tornado or any kind of those events that are occurring, that is the power of wind god, who is controlling that material element. the wind. So similarly, we have earth, water, fire, air, ether. So Prithvi Devi. So we have the goddess Bhūmi. And then Agni Dev, the fire god, is in control of the fiery element. Varun Dev. And then we have the Akash. So this is an interesting coincidence that has happened now, that we're discussing about the brother of Hanumanji here, Bhīma, on the 1st of January. So this is a really auspicious way of beginning this particular 2024, where we are discussing Kimva kṛtāgheṣv agham atyamarṣī bhīmo hivad dīrghatamaṁ vyamuñcat. So the second line here, then Bhīma is being mentioned here, who is a hivad. So a hivad is translated like a cobra. Dīrghatamaṁ vyamuñcat, long-cherished, has released. So it's interesting. Again, the metaphor here, metaphors are quite an interesting way of showing, pointing to the reality. Of course, it is just a pointer to the reality. It's not the reality itself. Just like they say that you show the moon by pointing the finger. That is what they say. So that is what the guru is doing. The spiritual master is showing Krishna. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasada, yasya prasadan nagati kutopi, dhyayam stuvam sehe shastri sandhyam vande guru shri charana-bhindam. Sakshat haritvena samasta shastra uktas tatha bhavetayeva shadbhi kinto prabhorya priyeva tasya vande guru shri charana-bhindam. So in the Guru Ashtakam, very beautifully it is mentioned about the spiritual master. So he is Sakshat haritvena samasta shastra. He is like the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. All the Shastras are saying that. Uktas tata bhavetayeva shadbhi. Why? Because kinto prabhorya priyevatasya. Because he is very dear to Krishna. He is like Krishna in that sense. Not that in the impersonal realm, one kind of goes into that vakya of Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. In that sense, then everything becomes one. That is the impersonal, and if that is the case, then there is no guru and there is no shishya. There is no spiritual master, there is no disciple, there is only Brahman. That is the impersonal, that is the jnana marga. But to know Krishna, one has to take up bhakti. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavanyas-chashmi tatvata. Yat tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tadanantara. Bhaktya tva ananya shakya hameva vidho arjuna. Gyatum drishtum cha tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that one can know him only through bhakti. What is bhakti? Bhakti para isha anubhava viraktir esha trisha eka kala. It is mentioned in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Three things happen simultaneously when there is love for the Lord. Bhakti is love for the Lord. And when that love for the Lord is there, then one can remember the Lord always. That is what is love. Even if you look at it from the bodily perspective, if someone is in love with someone, what do? They always think of that person. And then they want to do something for that person. They want to be with that person. So all these aspects are there when there is love. And that is what bhakti is. Bhakti is when there is love for Krishna. And that love transcends. So that is why it's called prema pumartho mahan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions that love or the prema is pumartha. It transcends all the other kinds of purusharthas, as they are called. The purusharthas are what one endeavors for in the human form of life. When one gets a human form of life, one is in a purushartha state. One has to do the purushartha. What is a purushartha? The four activities: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. So one has to engage in religiosity, and then using the religiosity as a foundation, one can get artha. Artha is the economic development. One can engage in economic development. Then, basing on the religiosity and economic development, one can have sense gratification, kama. And basing on the three other pillars, because one has experienced the whole life now. One has been religious, one has got wealth, one knows that sense enjoyment is futile because that is what happens when we see in the history that people would have lots and lots of money and lots of material things at their disposal, but unfortunately they still are not satisfied. So that is, and then what happens is the fourth pillar is moksha. Then one tries to understand how can I get a happiness that never ends. That is the real bliss. So that is moksha. So this is the purusharthas, the four chatur purusharthas as they are called. But prema is a fifth, and prema transcends all of that. So therefore, Bilva Mangala Thakur's beautiful prayer, Bhakti Stvai Bhagavata Bhagavan Yadi Syad, Daivena na Phalati Divya Kishora Murti, Mukti Swayam Mukulitanjali Sevate Asman, Dharmartha Kamagataya Samaya Pratiksha. So Bilva Mangala Thakur is saying that when one has got that love for Krishna, Bhakti Stvai Bhagavata Bhagavan Yadi Syad, Daivena na Phalati Divya Kishora Murti. So to whom one has got that love? Divya Kishora Murti. That divine couple, Kishora Murti, who are always in a youthful state of existence. That is Radha Krishna. Pran Mora Yugala Kishore. Jivane Marane Gati Aar Nahi Mor. Is said by Vrindavan Das Tagore. That Radha and Krishna are my life force. They are the Yugal Kishore, the eternal youth. Jivane Marane Gati Aar Nahi Mor. So this is the love for the Lord. And when that is there, that is the Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gyanvan Ma Prapadyate. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, that the end of knowledge is love for the Lord. If after having all this Brahma Jnana, this knowledge of our eternal nature and the knowledge that we are an eternal part and parcel of Krishna, that is a Vaishnava philosophy, where one knows that one is eternally a fragmental part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas the impersonal philosophy is that everything is one. So then there is no Lord, there is no Jiva. So there is only Lord. But that is in a sense, when a person is loving Krishna, they are also in a very similar state of mind, but it's not the same. That is the difference between similar and same. When a person is, for example, the gopis, when they are Ramya Kachit Upasana Vrajavadhu Vargena Yakalpita. It is mentioned the same verse that how should one render loving devotional service to Krishna like the gopis of Vrindavan. Vrajavadu Vargenaya Kalpita. Their love for Krishna was such that they could see Krishna everywhere. They see a bee. There is a Brahmara Gita. They're talking to the bee. And they are asking about Krishna to the bee. So this is that level of total absorption in Krishna. That absorption becomes so strong that one loses oneself in that absorption. So in a way, it seems to be that it is like one is what is happening in the impersonal, losing. But there is a very big difference there. The difference is that in love, there are two people in love. There are the two lovers in love, and the duality has to exist for love to exist. Otherwise, love cannot exist. Of course, they talk about this concept of self-love now in the contemporary context. That is quite an interesting concept as well. But self-love is something that is there, but it is always in relationship. Why is there self-love? Because when there is lots of self-love, this love can come out of oneself and then go to others as well. As they say, you cannot give from an empty cup. So our cup has to be full so that we can give it to others. So this is the concept of love. Prema pumartho mahan. And this is what Bilva Mangal Thakur was saying. Mukti swayam muklitanjali sevate asman dharmartha kamagadaya samaya pratiksha. He's saying that the Mukti Devi, the goddess of liberation, is standing in front of that pure devotee with folded hands. What to speak of the other three? Dharma, Artha, and Kama. They are just preceding states. Moksha is the final state. So this is, it's quite interesting. We were discussing about bhīmo, hivad, dīrghatamaṁ, vyamuñcat. So talking about Bhīma here was like a cobra. So the concept here was we were talking about the simile, the metaphors that was given here. And here the metaphor given is that of Bhīma being like a cobra and who has not released his venom yet. Yasyāṅghri-pātaṁ raṇa-bhūr na sehe. Very beautifully put words in Sanskrit. So then the next line is saying that yasyāṅghri-pātaṁ. So who's putting on the steps? raṇa-bhūr, the battle, the field of battle, could not tolerate, sehe. So here the explanation about Bhīma is being given by Vidura. So and why is it that he has got this anger and he has kept the venom like a cobra? We know from Mahabharata, we know from the story how unfortunately the sons of Dhṛtarāṣṭra, Duryodhana, Dushasana, and all the other Kaurava brothers were unfortunately torturing the Pandavas in so many different ways. Like they were put in a wax palace, and there was this nefarious act to burn that wax palace so that they all get burnt alive. Such an ghastly, even to think of such an act is so heinous, and what to speak of actually doing it practically to their own cousins. It's such an unfortunate situation it was. And then so many other situations, like forcefully calling for that gambling match where Shakuni had this dice which would act according to his own intentions. So that was pure cheating there, because of which Yudhishthira lost everything. And you see, he lost. He even lost himself and Draupadi as well, his wife, Panchali. And we see such an unfortunate incident happened that Dushasana wanted to disrobe her. And finally, Draupadi calls for Krishna, and Krishna supplies her with unlimited cloth. So this is the wonderful nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that when one calls for the Lord appears. And that call has to be from total 100% surrender. And that 100% surrender is there. And when the person is calling Krishna, then Krishna, this is a wonderful nature of the Lord. He ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham mama vartamanu vartante manushya partha sarvasha. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita, that whatever way one is surrendering onto the Lord reciprocates accordingly. So we have the story of the Gajendra moksha as well. Gajendra was the king of that elephant whose leg was taken by the crocodile. And then we see that picture where Gajendra with his trunk is offering the lotus to the Supreme Personality of Godhead with total surrender. And then Krishna comes and rescues Gajendra. So this is the wonderful nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so there is this particular verse where the Lord says that agham smarami mad bhaktam nayami paramam gatim. So that's why Krishna tvadiya padapangaja pancharantam adhyaiva me vishatu manasa rajahamsa prana payana samaye kaphavata pittai kantavarodana vidho smaranam kutaste. Kulashekar Alvar says, from the perspective of devotee, Kulashekar Alvar says that, oh my Lord, let the swan of my mind get entangled in the stems of your lotus feet. Such a beautiful metaphor. Because at the time of death, I don't know what my situation will be, whether I'll be able to remember you or not. So when I am in a good state of mind, let my mind always be entangled in terms of remembering you. So swan of my mind get entangled in the stems of your lotus feet. Krishna tvadiya padapangaja pancharantam adhyaiva me vishatu manasa rajahamsa. Why? Because prana prayana samaya kaphavata pittai. When at the time of death, all these imbalances will occur in my mind and body. Kantavarodhana vidho smaranam kutaste. And in that situation, I don't know whether I'll be able to remember you or not. So therefore, Krishna actually says that aham smarami mad bhaktam nayami paramam gati. Krishna says that if somehow or other a pure devotee is in that state where they are not able to remember me, I will remember my pure devotee and I will bring him back. This is a guarantee of the Lord. This is the Sakrideva prapannoyas tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etadvratam mama. Krishna says this to Rama. Sri Rama says this to Vibhishana in the Yuddha Kanda of Ramayana. He says that even once Sakrideva prapanna, after surrendering, yes, one says tavasmiti chayachate. One says to the Lord, "O Lord, I am yours." 100% surrender for one moment, saying that, "O Lord, I am yours." Abhayam sarvada tasmai dadami etadvratam mama. Sri Rama says, this is vratam. This is my promise. What is my promise? My promise is that I will give fearlessness to such a person for eternality. So this is the wonderful nature of engaging in remembering the Lord. Smaranam. Smartavya. Satatam Vishnu. Vismartavyam na jatuchit. Sarve vidhi nishedasyo retayo reva kinkara. Smartavya satatam Vishnu. Always remembering Krishna. Vismartavyam na jatuchit. not forgetting him at any moment. Sarve vidhi nishedasya retayoreva kinkara. All the other rules and regulations are subservient to this main rule. What is the main rule? Remember Krishna always. So here, when this word is being used, yasyāṅghri-pātaṁ raṇa-bhūr na sehe. So yasyāṅghri, angra. So that is his putting his steps on the battlefield. Mārgaṁ gadāyāś carato vicitram. So there it is said the path by the clubs playing wonderful. So basically, the field of battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped on the path. So that is the kind of translation of that particular second line. So the first line was Vidura asking, please tell me whether the unconquerable Bhīma, who is like a cobra, has released his long-cherished anger upon the sinners. So here, and as we have said, Bhīma, the nature of Bhīma is such that he is very straightforward in that sense. And if someone is like a real kshatriya there, what is kshatriya means? Kshat trayate. So one who protects not only themselves but also others from injustice of others. So if someone is being unjust to others, the kshatriya has to come in, step in, and bring in justice. That is an extremely important part of the role of kshatriya. And here, the unfortunate situation was they themselves were in that situation. It's not even, of course, the nature of the Kauravas was such that if they could do these heinous activities to the friend of Krishna, to the direct relative of Krishna, and even the Kauravas were also indirectly related to Krishna. But if they could do this to their own cousins, it's kind of unfortunate that how much more unfortunate injustice and the acts of arrogance and violence they could do to others. It's just unfathomable. So that was the situation, and that is the reason there is this comparison to Bhīma, like a cobra who has released his long-cherished anger upon the sinners. So the main point here is that the unfortunate sin that was being committed by the Kauravas, Duryodhana and his brothers. And then the second and the third and fourth line is talking about the field of battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped on the path. So Srila Prabhupada very nicely mentions in the purport, he says that Vidura's inquiry was whether he had yet released his anger, which was like that of a suffering cobra. When a cobra releases its venom after a long-cherished anger, its victim cannot survive. So here it's a very nice verse where we are discussing about Bhīma here. Mahatma Vidura is talking about Bhīma, and this is the way where we can somehow or other come to that state of Madchitta Madgat Prana, Bodhayanta Parasparam, Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. If we can remember Krishna through these verses of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. How are we remembering Krishna here? Because we are talking about the two wonderful devotees of Krishna here. Vidura, who is, as we said, who is actually a kind of incarnation of Yamaraj. And then we have Bhīma, who is the son of Vayudev, the wind god. And this is what is Madchitta Madgat Prana Bodhayanta Parasparam Kathayantascha Mam Nityam Tushyanti Cha Ramanti Cha. So we remember the Lord and his devotees. The Lord and his devotees are inseparable. When we talk of the Lord, we will talk about his devotees. And when we talk about the devotees, we will talk about the Lord. They are, when the Lord incarnates, he brings along with him his associates. Sango pangastra parshadam. Yagyai sankirtane prayar. Yajanti hi sumedasa. Krishna varnam trisha krishnam. Sanga upanga astra parshad. Sango pangastra parshad. Yagyai sankirtane prayar. Yajanti hi sumedasa. So that is said about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is describing Krishna, yes, and he is in the category of Krishna. So therefore is Krishna Varnam. But his complexion is Tvisha Akrishnam. His complexion is Gauranga, his molten gold complexion. Sanga Upanga Astra Parshadam. So when the Lord is coming, along with him there is his associates and his whole entourage. The Srila Prabhupada gives the example of someone, head of a state, visiting another state. The whole cabinet ministers and the whole diplomats, everyone will come along with the head of the state, and there will be lots and lots of discussions between the two states across all fields of all different areas that they want to discuss, economics and different other things. Similarly, when the Lord is coming, all his entourage is coming, all his associates are coming. So that's what we see when the Lord, his disappearance lila, when he is Krishna Swadhamopagate, when he's going back to his own abode. We see that the whole Yadava dynasty is also going back. And this is that wonderful Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam discussion where we are, every verse is fully like an offering of flowers at the lotus feet of the Lord. Every verse is like that. So with that, we can read this verse again and I'll conclude. Kimva kṛtāgheṣv agham atyamarṣī bhīmo hivad dīrghatamaṁ vyamuñcat yasyāṅghri-pātaṁ raṇa-bhūr na sehe mārgaṁ gadāyāś carato vicitram. Translation is, please tell me whether the unconquerable Bhīma, who is like a cobra, has released his long-cherished anger upon the sinners. The field of battle could not tolerate even the wonderful playing of his club when he stepped on the path. With this, I would like to conclude this talk. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Govinda. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyata Deshatarine. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Krishna Matirastu. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.